So, welcome to the Talking Timber podcast with me, Mike Jeffrey.
And me, Keith Fryer.
And as ever, I'd like to recap at the beginning of this and say you can listen to previous episodes of Talking Timber on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, Spotify.
And YouTube.
Well, very good. Yeah, we're getting the hang of this.
So today I think we're in for a very interesting podcast, which we're talking to Alex Everett,
yes,
who is the Chief Executive Officer of Naked Kitchens,
yep,
a leading kitchen designer, manufacturer.
I've been looking at the website and it's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's lovely stuff.
It really does. Even though I'm very stingy, even I feel like, cool, I wouldn't mind one of their kitchens.
Yeah, and I think that, my impression, I've done a couple of articles about naked kitchens, and I particularly remember, looking at the actual product, which is fantastic, huge users of timber as well, of course. But I remember seeing one of their adverts where they had one of their beautiful kitchens, but also in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Was a 1940s jet fighter.
It sort of crash landed in on the kitchen.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And I sadly knew, I hope I didn't get corrected on this, but I think it was a de Havilland vampire.
Right.
Which I did.
That plane spotting book you got when you were 10 years old has paid off, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I thought this is an interesting company, and I phoned them up, and I did an interview, and I've done included their comments in various articles and things, and it turns out they are a very interesting company. So
I'm interested as well, because I used to live up just near where their, I guess we're going to find all of this out, where their main base is up at Fakenham. So that's going to be quite interesting for me. So there's a little journey. And,
excellent.
Yeah,
okay,
really
let's bring in Alex Everett.
Yeah, hopefully
Alex,
he's here after all this. Yeah.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Talking Timber.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Good to have you on board. Good.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yeah, pleasure.
So we've just done a sort of thumbnail sketch of Naked Kitchens, which let's fill in the blanks. And it's a family business. Could you give us a quick idea of how the business began and
where you've got to today?
Yeah, absolutely. So my parents founded the business just a little over 20 years ago now, 2005, when we were actually Norfolk oak. So we were predominantly solid timber worktops, working with a lot of companies out in the US, buying in oversized worktops to begin with, and then slicing them down, sink cutouts, etc. Yeah. And it's really scaled a lot ever since in the last 2 decades.
Right.
So what motivated the move from doing that into where you are now as kitchens? And obviously I think we're going to find you're doing more besides, but what made the big decision to make that step?
I think after the financial crash, I think my parents really identified that the solid timber market was moving to the Far East and competing with worktops getting quoted for out there was just becoming a real challenge, a real headwind. And then also I think design trends had just changed really. And, now we're seeing a lot of quartzes and stones and other composites and moving away from solid worktops. And I think Dad has always loved machinery, looked at a 5-axis, 4-axis CNC nesting machine and thought, what could we build with that?
Yeah.
And Kitchens was born.
Yeah. The rest, they say, is history. No, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And how sort of quickly did the business, once you'd done this sort of strategic move into kitchens, how quickly did that take off? Was it a slow process?
That took off pretty quickly. I mean, we had a fantastic customer base from the solid timber side that we could market directly to for the kitchens. And I'd say within 2 years, it must have been kind of on par with the size of the solid timber business. So about a 50-50 split within 2 years of starting Naked Kitchens.
Right.
The looking up and down the website, looking at some of these gorgeous kitchens, which people can see for themselves there. It's there's a range of materials. We're obviously interested in timber, but you're using a whole wide range, a whole palette of different materials, aren't you? What apart from timber, what are sort of big components that you take on board?
I mean, on the panel side, we're using a variety of different MDFs, ply boards, and then with all sorts of kind of different veneers, melamines, etc. And then a lot of our kitchens are painted as well.
Yes, I can see that.
And so, did you? I mean, Is it all sort of in-house design, or did you bring in a designer, or how did that sort of develop?
That was my mum. So mum
Right.
was very much the creative visionary of Naked, and so she very much fronted up all of the design side of the business.
Well, you can see there's a real talent there because they just look amazing. They're very, very creative. But the other thing I was sort of looking at through it all is they appear to be underlying very practical as well. They don't look, please forgive me, my expression is probably wrong. They don't look sort of like bonkers kitchens. They look like proper workable kitchens. That presumably was a very important part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I think getting that balance is very important. I'm sure we've all got things that look fantastic, and then when you actually go to use it, it's quite purposeless. And so, making sure that the ergonomics and functionality of the kitchen are up to par with the aesthetics.
No, that's that. You can see that loud and clear.
So what would you say is Naked Kitchen's kind of, it's an overused sort of buzzword, but USP,
I think
unique selling point.
I would actually use kind of one of our core principles, which is that we don't believe in limitations.
Right.
And so, and that in itself springs off into many different USPs, but just the way that we view problems, the way that, we allow our clients to bring their designs to life, we won't find limitations. We will always find solutions to improve something, to do something better.
Yeah.
So looking again at the website, you've got what appears to be a very large premises at Fakenham in Norfolk, which is sort of out there, isn't it? Sort of heading towards sort of not far from Norwich.
No.
What is that your main base?
Yeah, so the factory there. So we've actually got two old World War II aircraft hangars on RAF West Raynham.
Yeah.
And we've got it's a big facility, so it's about 120,000 square feet.
Wow.
Is what we've got up there.
Yeah. I could see that looks like one of the old hangars there, and I was thinking, crikey, that's a big building. And so you've got hangar 4 it talks about, but you presumably got another one as well. So wow.
Yeah, hangar 4 and hangar 3, yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's some enterprise. So a lot of people working for you?
On the Norfolk site, we're about 50 to 60 people.
Gosh.
And then with our showrooms and London office, it's about a team of I'd say mid-80s. Around that kind of size.
Yeah. And you talked about when the business began and about looking at this CNC machining centre, and what's the sort of approach these days between sort of high tech manufacture and sort of handcraft, hand finishing? Is that how do you sort of view that kind of those two things working together?
I think there's definitely a harmony. We look at automating as much kind of repeat process that we can possibly do in that sense. So we've got a fully automated cutting line, and then edge banders as well, and then a fully robotic spray line. So all of those areas that you want something that's highly precise and producing the same result from the first piece to the thousandth piece.
Yes.
I think you are going to get more reliability through a machine. And then on the more joinery side, bench work, that's where the artisans get to work, the craftsmen on the bench.
Yeah. And taking, I assume, particularly with paint and things, that by the sound of your painting equipment, that say a client has an issue a little while later with whether it's damage or something, you can then look at records and actually replicate exactly what they need.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've got about 36 standard colors, I think. And, we'll get a perfect color match on all of those. Any kind of issue that someone has because their pram or whatever has smashed into one of the end panels, we will definitely be sorting that out.
Yeah.
And getting the sort of required skilled personnel, can you get a ready-made craftsperson, or do you have to do your own training, or how do you approach that?
We have a very well-seasoned team. So a lot of our team in Norfolk have been with us, since the beginning.
Right.
And we've upskilled and very much trained within. We haven't taken a kind of traditional approach of, right, we've got this new spray line, we must take on a spray line operative who's done this before.
Yes.
It will be trained within, and we'll let all of the guys have the opportunity to be trained up on a new piece of equipment.
Yeah. So there we are. You've got a kitchen business now. It's been going for over 20 years. So it's got a lot of longevity already. And you start off in worktops. You're into kitchens. What's the sort of the next phases? Are there indeed? Joinery and other sort of works.
So with Naked Designs, which kind of fully launched last year, opening a showroom in Chelsea, that's all other rooms of the house.
Yeah.
So bedrooms, dressing rooms, utilities, boot rooms, all of those kind of sometimes can get seen as secondary rooms. The kitchen is very much the focus. And then within the group as well, we've recently acquired a very bespoke, kind of more joinery company, I'd say, called Langstaff. Right. And that's positioned at the kind of super prime retail, and working a lot with interior designers, developers, and that can be multi-room projects, say 20, 30 rooms, full joinery package.
Yeah.
I read about Naked Studio as well. Isn't that a different?
Yeah, so the Naked Studio side, that's our freestanding furniture range. So where you can just purchase, say, bedside tables, freestanding larder units, and just exploring the market there really, and just offering more to our kind of extended client base.
Yeah. And is there a lot of overlap between customers? People who've got one of your kitchens, so they come to you and say, can we use the services of Naked Designs or Naked Studio products? Are you finding that?
Absolutely. There's a lot of cross-selling between the various kind of sub-brands under Naked. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So honing in on timber per se then, various species come in and out of fashion here, there and everywhere. Are you seeing a particular trend at the moment of one species? Inevitably oak in terms of consumption always in hardwoods tends to be the number one. But aside from oak, are there any others sort of really coming on strong?
I'd say walnut has come into play a lot in the last couple of years.
And is that black walnut, as in American black walnut?
American black walnut. Yeah, is what we buy in, and actually just kind of a very clean look of unstained. We used to do a very hard kind of dark stained walnut, which is still popular, but now we're seeing a real resurgence in the unstained walnut. And
on textures, looking at the website, a lot of the timber is what I describe as very clean. Is there much demand for things like pippy and burr and things with not defects as such, but more characterization? Or do you tend to find your clients want a very clean cut look?
I think we do get some people who specify character, so we call it character oak, and then we've got the knots and the more features.
Yes.
But I think it becomes very challenging to look at exactly what the client wants and just making sure that the assumptions of how that look is actually going to be across, say, 20 door fronts, having that kind of vast variety. And managing the expectations can sometimes be a challenge when it comes to more characterful veneers or solid timber.
Yes, but as a sort of a general theme at the moment, you're seeming to imply also that the clean, straight sort of look is what seems to be fashionable at the moment compared to character.
I think, I mean, we still use a crown cut veneer, so we like kind of to have that depth of the veneer rather than a quarter cut. But then having the kind of consistency, say, throughout all of the drawer fronts as much as naturally possible, it is something our clients do prefer over a more kind of random assortment of different logs, say, across their doors.
And how does demand sort of divvy up between a coloured kitchen and a natural timber looking kitchen with a sort of maybe a sort of clear finish? What's the trend you're seeing in that area?
Well, it's interesting because I think there's a lot of mixing going on now. So we'll do a lot of, say, island features in timber, and then your wool units in painted, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I would say almost 50% now, if not even more, will be having a mixture of painted and our exposed timber finishes as well.
Yeah, I can see that coming up here.
A lot of our portfolio assets will have that, definitely.
The one there, just as an example, Anma. I'm looking at Anma. That's got quite a bit.
That's in our Chelsea showroom.
Yeah, that's got quite a mix. So for instance, with, say, something like ash, I don't know whether there's much ash that comes into use with you, but a product that's quite a clean timber in itself, do you get much requirement for staining, or is it always just either polished or painted or sort of lacquered?
So we've done a few ash worktops recently, actually, and we have used ash for painting for our smooth finish, so you don't see any grain. Then a lot of staining we actually do on our oak, so on our solid oak and oak veneer as well, and we do the same on walnut.
Yeah, because limed oak was such a fashionable thing at one time, but I don't think that probably even comes on your radar anymore, does it?
We've got it in the showrooms, and for the right client, it is a desired look. But no, I think that trend is slightly swinging.
It's probably 1990s.
Probably
before you guys even started. I know, it's my age.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know how long ago it was, but I seem to remember when I was doing a sort of piece on the kitchen market and for the magazine I was working for, there was quite a sort of trend towards the sort of industrial-looking plywood kitchen. Is that done and dusted, or do you get any demand for plywood?
That's a good one.
But so we used to have a very strong kind of, we just branded it as our kind of Scandi look.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, it was very popular. I would say again that has quite
waned,
gone now.
Right, yeah.
I would say, I mean, very few kitchens a year. We used to do the exposed ply edges, so the door would actually set within the cabinet. And that has slightly disappeared.
Yeah. I should have asked this before, but what's the sort of, I mean, are all of your kitchens sort of entirely bespoke, or do you offer any sort of standard products as well as, doing something specially for a particular customer?
I would say almost every kitchen has an element of bespokeness.
Yeah.
And the way that bespoke is this kind of term within the industry that everyone seems to have a different definition of it.
Yes.
But in terms of really bespoke, almost every kitchen will have something where that specific cabinet has had our designer and our tech team and our production team all kind of look at and work out exactly how it's going to be in the client's house.
Yeah. So you got your core, if you like, of standard dimensions, inevitably about depth and width and height and things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. But then everything builds off the back of that in terms of the bespokeness.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there are some cabinets that will be quite repetitive, say, so your kind of base 600 cabinets.
Exactly.
And then your larder unit is where everyone wants to go wild and make a big statement. And that's where we're going to really go to town and get to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever get sort of a request and you think, oh, really? No, can we actually do that? Is there
the whole
anything
time?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
won't name any names,
putting
but
our thinking caps on and figuring out just how we're going to do that. I mean, we had one the other day of an overhang that was I just thought was physically not achievable. So we ended up putting metal inserts throughout and pocketed this worktop so that it would look overhanging and be supported by these massive stainless rods going through it.
And also cantilever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think the other thing that's sort of post COVID is sort of working at home, and we were talking earlier about making kitchens not just look beautiful but work. Has that sort of working from home trend, has that affected your designs much, and is it still a factor?
I think we've seen a lot more kind of soft furnishings be an extension of the kitchen. So a lot of bench seating with then upholstered cushions, etc., going around and all kind of bespokely made for a little nook or breakfast area. And I think there's definitely one eye from the client on the fact that a couple of days a week they're potentially going to be there for the day. So so they're thinking about that, not only about having their breakfast there, but about whacking the laptop out and being there the day as well. So I'd say it's definitely a consideration.
Yeah.
So getting onto your supply chain, because a lot of our listeners are going to be timber companies, not necessarily naming names as such, but you've obviously got your existing supply base of people you go to buy panel products, solid timber, in all its sort of glory. How do you find getting on with the timber industry? Are they hard work, not too bad, very obliging, complete disaster, a mix of them all? How do you find it is to deal with them?
We've had some relationships that have kind of been handed to myself from my father that have now continued, and so we've been working with these partners, suppliers for a couple of decades now, and I mean there are always ups and downs with every kind of relationship, but on the whole I think very, very strong and understanding of what we need and our vision and where the company is going, and those suppliers kind of aligning to that and being there to support us with all of our needs.
And in terms of ordering or inquiry to getting a quote back, to ordering, consistency compared to what you're expecting, etc., etc. What's it like? Don't feel in any way embarrassed. I mean, we want a warts and all sort of investigation here. How's things go?
We're in quite a unique position because we don't control stock granularly. We have that cash flow freedom to look further into the future, be more prepared, and kind of never caught out. So boy, we've had some fun in the last 5-6 years with the supply chain. We haven't been caught out almost at all, from componentry to timber, panel stock, etc. So I think from that side, we've mitigated the risk by just having a huge amount of stock and investing the capital before we almost need it.
Yes.
I think one thing that the industry does seem to be struggling with is maintaining the quality of materials.
Any particular areas? Is this more on solid hardwoods, perhaps, maybe, than panels?
Solid hardwoods. I mean, the rumor is that the US is keeping all the best stuff for themselves, and they're letting very little of the high quality come across the pond, and so that's definitely been a struggle, maintaining what grading was very not only acceptable but just exactly
in terms of widths,
should be.
Maybe like sort of, in other words, getting a lot of parcel which is a lot more narrows than wides, something like that, maybe. Or
stave widths, also just consistency of color, particularly on the black walnut. That's I think we had a pack arrive a couple of years ago that I honestly thought was oak.
So how do you respond to that? I mean, how do you
quite aggressively?
And so, as you should. Yeah, it is. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? We're dealing with a natural product, but sometimes that can be used as an excuse and a get-out clause for just actually not doing a very good job. Is that
yeah? And
is
I
that
think
fair?
we've kind of been around the block, and particularly with my dad as well. He's seen it all, so
Yes. Yeah.
we kind of know where the quality should be, and completely appreciate the natural nature of the timber, and that's the messaging that we also have to pass on to our clients and manage those expectations as well. So we're very understanding of that, but we know when something isn't to the quality that it's been sold.
Yeah.
And is that situation getting worse? Is it deteriorating?
I wouldn't say it's improving.
No.
I think a lot of our suppliers know, well, when I get on the phone to them, they know something's either gone very well or very bad. And you know, they understand that they'll try and, you know, sort through the timber before it comes to us, or put in any kind of way to reduce the risk of that. Yeah. But yeah, I just say we're becoming very selective, and you know, we'll give people a second chance, but once the second chance comes and goes, we don't really like returning.
No. And that's a really important point for people to realise, that in the relationship, that you know, you've got your job to do as well. You can't hand this down the line. Your kitchens are of a quality that it's got to be absolutely on the money, hasn't it? It's got to be spot on, because you're adding a lot of labour onto that product, aren't you? That's the key. The materials themselves might be expensive, but by the time you've added the labour in, they're hugely expensive.
The processing cost, and then the labour, and then the finishing, the fitting, everything in. It's it's a significant journey that piece of timber will go on from getting off the lorry.
Yeah.
And are you often sort of looking at new timber species that you might trial? And is that something you're sort of, is that on your radar?
That's very driven by the client.
Yeah.
And I mean, on the worktop side, we'll almost do anything really that we can procure.
Yeah.
Not so much. I mean, we have had some really interesting inquiries recently for like cedar of Lebanon veneers and bits and pieces like that, and maple draw boxes and stuff that's not our kind of bread and butter, but very, very much, you know, capable of producing.
Yeah.
So client driven, clearly. How much do you get asked from your clients down to you for sustainability or environmental credentials? Does that never crop up, always crop up, sometimes?
I'd say it's definitely a sometimes. And we actually have just become FSC certified as a manufacturer.
Yeah.
From December, and that's as we're working with a lot more kind of main contractors, developers who are really looking for suppliers with that certificate. So that's been great to talk to clients about. And sustainably kind of sourced, we'll always look to buy FSC. So sometimes the price point can be so different,
or the quality,
and exactly, and the quality that we may not go for the FSC material if it's not needed for that job.
Yeah. Is PEFC sort of accepted as an equivalent or not?
I mean, I'd say it's very recognised, but more people will steer for the FSC and not have it as a prerequisite for the other bodies.
So it's, in other words, it's the client going against a known value, i.e. because FSC has a higher public profile, rather than necessarily the actual credibility of the scheme, where PEFC is actually a very big provider of timber. So it's very client driven, in other words, by the sound of it.
I would say so. And the clients here very much being the kind of more clued up architects, interior designers, developers, probably not your private clients. They may have done a ChatGPT search for what to look out for sustainability and then ask it, but otherwise they're not industry experts.
Yes. Exactly. That would, I think, be what most people would come back with, that it's about the profile.
And sort of connected that with that. Do you? I think. Do you use any tropical timber these days? Is that something you look at all? No,
not really. I can't really think the last time we actually used any.
I'm surprised at that. So it's all temperate. So oak. I'm guessing here. Oak number one.
Oak would be number one, probably 75%.
Wow,
I'd say. Yeah,
really
three quarters.
Yeah. Next one down, if there is.
That's going to be walnut at probably 20%.
Gosh.
And then 5% of anything remaining, really.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Any use of? I mean, it's given all sorts of different names. I mean, I would call it poplar, but another popular name for it is tulip wood. We
do use that for our painted.
Yeah, thought you might do. Yeah.
So our painted 5-piece shakers, they can come out of that, or beech actually as well. Yeah.
Beech is great, isn't it? 'Cause it's very crisp. Really
very crisp, and we find very good in the fields with movement or lack of.
Yeah. And can take a real beating, can't it? That pram would have a heck of a job denting beech, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. And sort of broadening it out a bit more, do you have in your mind's eye sort of a picture of a Naked Kitchens customer? Do you have that sort of vision of who they are and what sort of people they are? And
yeah, we do try and segment our kind of demographics. First thing, about 70% of our customers are London or Greater London. So there's, a lot of concentrated orders and clients here. A lot of young professionals, and this being their first property, so probably rented in centre of London, say, and they've moved out to Alham or Clapham and doing their first property up there. They're a very strong demographic for us. Yeah. And then empty nesters. So when all the kids have gone out the house and it's
a new kitchen.
School fees, uni fees have gone.
They suddenly got loads of money.
Some more disposable income, and they come into the doors of our showrooms.
Yeah. And where's the furthest field that you've sent a kitchen to? Where's your furthest?
Oh, we are doing quite a lot internationally now.
I wonder whether you might.
We've done a few in the States. I know we're quoting out. Well, one we're sorting out for the BVIs, which will be a fantastic project. It would probably be one in the US, but I may be corrected. We may have done
and then
something
on the
out
British Isles, sort of Ireland or Scotland or Wales.
We do quite a few in the Outer Hebrides.
Right. Holiday homes, I'm assuming. Yeah. So,
Yeah, we have to make sure that the designers look and quote properly for delivery.
I bet. Yeah.
I bet.
We're going to have to wrap up in a minute, but I have to ask first, with my sad knowledge of 1940s jet fighters. I mean, your marketing approach is particularly interesting, I think. And have you got any sort of new plans on that front?
It's great.
Well, we do
some
have
eyebrows.
one. We're going to be taking a kitchen out to a sand island off the coast of Norfolk, which is only there at low tide. So it's a proper military operation making that photo shoot happen. But that should be on the radar.
Is that near Burnham Market?
Just east. It's actually near Blakeney and Morstan.
Yeah. I can picture roughly. Yeah, I think I know where you're heading for. Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
So, what about plans? We can only be brief on this, but plans for the future of Naked Kitchens and Naked Designs, Naked Studio. Where do you see the business developing?
So we're opening a new showroom in Cambridge next month. That should be opening. So that's getting fully fitted at the moment. And do have my eye on a few other locations around the UK as well for more showrooms.
There's hot spots, aren't there, like Bath and Cheltenham and all sorts of. There's some other sort of big money spots, aren't there?
Definitely, and I think particularly our kind of clientele, they want to come in, develop a relationship with one of our designer. They want to see our product, touch, open the drawers, really get a sense of who we are physically in one of our showrooms.
Yeah.
Well, very, very good luck to you all, and thank you for sparing us so much of your time to sort of hear about all of that.
It's been very interesting.
Yeah, I
thank you very much for having me.
Good to have your insights into the timber trade as well.
Yeah, and for telling us the way it is, about that supply line. It's really important that timber companies understand deeply what their customers need.
Exactly.
And then meet that need.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Perfect.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and maybe we can come back to you in not too distant future and see where the business has got to by that point.
Exactly, yeah. See what the trends are. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Well, Alex clearly has got his feet under that table, hasn't he?
Yeah, very interesting. Interesting company. I thought so from when I first stumbled across them, and I didn't stumble across. I saw the advert with the jet fighter.
Yeah, I can see you are really transparent. I didn't realise you had this thing about vampire jets, but you clearly you have, Mike.
No, but some interesting comments, and I just thought, telling some of the, but not exactly home truths, but
I think it's
saying
important.
It as it is to the timber trade about the quality of grading and
I'm a timber
consistency.
trader, and I moan regularly about things within our industry, and that's not done just to be a member of the awkward squad. I think it's really important that the whole supply chain gets to understand what they need to do.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's also a company with sort of that degree of positivity and clearly ambition.
Yeah, big ambitions.
Looking at new markets.
They're going to go and move into other areas. Aren't they?
Exactly.
That's clear, and that's going to be good for our industry.
Well, exactly, it's a real showcase for timber and a sort of really sort of quality,
top end,
highly specified design product.
Yeah. And that's there. And there's a lot of craft there. I mean, they've got a large workforce there in Norfolk.
Yeah, but I find it interesting, that we're talking about that sort of blend of technology, the latest sort of processing equipment.
Yeah, robotic painting.
Hand in glove with
you can't,
handicraft,
Yeah, you can't get away from that. You're still going to need those key bench skills.
Yeah.
You're never going to eradicate that. That's going to be what makes Naked Kitchens really stand out.
Yeah, exactly.
And the attention to detail. I thought that was very helpful. And, understanding, despite everyone's efforts to swerve away, oak still comes out, doesn't it? Every single time. It's ingrained in our DNA.
Yes.
We can't seem to shake it off.
No, but 99% of buyers can't be wrong.
No, absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
No, it's great, and long may it continue, I guess. Especially for the guys out there who are in the oak market.
Yes,
I'm sure they don't want it any other way.
Rubbing their hands. Yeah, exactly.
Nice one.
Yeah,
well, yes, I think you were saying, look forward to seeing them again.
Yeah, definitely. It will be worth. Definitely worth catching up with them. They seem to have so many things in the pipeline that a return visit at some point would be interesting to see what happens.
Too right.